nothing but artificial intelligence, where we ask our guests what, in their point of view, is artificial intelligence, and they share their point of view. So if you want to be in the show, all you need to do is just send me a direct message and I will bring you here and you can share your point of view on what is artificial intelligence. Some housekeeping before I kickstart with our guest today. If you're watching this on Twitter, please press the follow button and like and retweet this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please press the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you get alerted when the live show is on. If you're watching this on LinkedIn by some reason, then please like it, give a heart around, and then share it around with your network as well, so more and more people can watch it. And please follow me on LinkedIn as well. If you're watching this on Facebook by any chance, then please do two things. One is like it, share it, of course, and then share it with other groups that are artificial intelligence focused, so more and more people can learn from our guests. Okay, about our guest today. So as I said, if you have a point of view on what is artificial intelligence, all you need to do is send me a direct message, and that's what our guest today did. Grace Mathew from Sydney sent me a text message and saying, well, I want to be on the show and I want to share my point of view on what is artificial intelligence. So let's bring her in without any further ado. Hi, Grace, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Good stuff, Grace. For the benefit of the audience, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm based in Sydney, Australia, and I have spent the last number of years working with a combination of technology consulting companies and also private investors, particularly in the life science and health space. So I've had access to some of the most brilliant minds around science and technology, cybersecurity, and also some of the sort of most up to the minute advances in medicine and things that are really going to change how we look at our health in the years to come. So AI is certainly a topic which is very central to all of these kinds of conversations and areas that I've worked in.
Yes, absolutely. So we ask, so what we did was, whenever we go to YouTube and type YouTube or Twitter and type artificial intelligence, what we see mostly people showing is robots and whatnot, right? So that scared me off. And I said, I think there is a need for people to understand what artificial intelligence is. And everyone has a definition of their own. So we're running this little series where we are asking people, what is artificial intelligence? And so today, you are the one who's going to answer and give us your point of view on what is artificial intelligence. So tell the audience, Grace, what in your point of view is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, artificial intelligence is a bit of an umbrella term, which I think needs to be broken down into some of its subsets. So as an overarching term, obviously we're talking about algorithms, software, basically anything technological which has the ability to learn or emulate the way that the brain works. And so there are different elements or different levels of artificial intelligence. There's deep machine learning. There's things like voice recognition software. It all has an element of AI in it. All the way through to the fact that Facebook can now recognize your face in various photos. That's also AI. A few weeks ago, I think you had a man called Nicholas Babin. I'm not sure how to say his name. And I really liked his perspective in terms of AI as being something which would allow technology to augment human intelligence. That's actually probably the most positive application of AI, where it becomes a tool to further human intelligence and allow us to achieve more than we would be able to do without that. And I think when you think about it in that sense, it could be anything as simple as a calculator all the way through to the most sophisticated level of deep machine learning. I think that when we look at AI, one of the areas that I find most interesting is how artificial intelligence has been applied to the health and life sciences field. So how is that going to change the way that we look at medicine? But it's also really interesting when you look at things like, the way legal systems work, the way governments sort of steward their authority, particularly in, managing crime and dealing with how citizens interact within their environment. So there's a huge amount of scope to the whole broad term of AI. If we sort of hone in on how AI can be applied to basically have a positive impact on human life and the way that we interact, then that's, I think, the best application of it.
Okay. Any use case that comes to mind?
Absolutely. So I mentioned earlier this idea of how AI is going to shift medicine, the life sciences, and health. And in healthcare, we've already seen AI be applied in a whole bunch of ways. So using, computer algorithms to both figure out ways of forecasting what might work for people. So applying it to precision medicine. So where you take in a huge amount of data, environmental data, personal data, and then also data about what's, existing therapies that are out there, and then looking at how specific personalized solutions can be created or honed for one individual on the basis of whether it be their DNA, their history, their family health history, and their own way of doing things. The other use case, I think, particularly in the health space, that I think is very important and interesting, is to do with how we actually, our behavior. So at the moment, there's a huge amount of research around the fact that if we were to just change our behaviors, the way that we eat, the way that we move, then we are very, very much capable of avoiding about 40% of diseases and bringing our healthcare costs down by that much. The problem is, so we all know this, we all know that we need to eat healthy, we need to exercise, we know to avoid known carcinogens, not to smoke or drink too much and that kind of thing. But the issue is in behavioral change. Yep. And it's easy for us to say, oh, I know this, but the next step is actually putting it into practice. And so I think an exciting frontier for AI is looking at how we can actually change behavior. And even when it comes to something as simple as getting a patient to take the medicine, which is going to save their lives, that kind of thing sounds so simple, and yet sometimes that can be the main obstacle to a person staying in good health. So using the power of AI, machine learning, and precision medicine to all come together and create personalized solutions for people, but then also the fact that AI is iterative, it can learn. You input data and it's constantly learning and shifting in response to that data. The fact that we could create personalized behavioral change programs or behavioral management programs for people, in a way, I think if there was some AI product that would help me get to the gym more often, then I would definitely be signing up. So that kind of thing I think is exciting.
No, absolutely. I think it is about behavioral change for us. And I also say one more thing, that artificial intelligence is mimicking human behavior.
Yeah.
And human intelligence. And I think if we find out various applications which can help us improve it, and that's what it's all about, making our lives easier. And if components of AI can help us to make our lives simpler and easier, I think that's where we're heading towards, and that's what artificial intelligence is going to make a huge impact. And I think there are components of artificial intelligence, and you mentioned a few of those, like data intelligence, machine learning, IoT, blockchain, and all of those where the interaction between the machine and the human is taking place. And I think machines can be smarter than us because we can only look at the way we interact with the world is by reading, looking, and reading and looking and feeling, right? Whereas machines can get data from machines, which we can't. Yeah. We can't connect to a machine. I can't hold a machine and start reading what's going on inside it, but data from a machine can do that. And I think that's a huge differentiator, and that's what is going to make a huge difference in the coming days.
Exactly. I think, to pick back up on that point of AI at its best being an extension of human intelligence. So, if we think about the fact that, so for example, medical imaging. So if you look at, for a highly trained and skilled and experienced doctor to analyze medical imaging, compare it to maybe some of the scenarios that they've seen before, there's still a huge proportion of potential human error. And also, things slip through the cracks. We're not computers. So as much as we can remember some of the things that we can also forget things. And so if there's an ability for machine learning to take on some of the ability of a doctor to analyze things, but then to store that up, we've got huge amounts of data which are now available in the medical field. And if computer systems are able to then analyze that data, terabytes or more of data that one person would never be able to, it would take them 1,000 years to get through. And then to be able to do that in a millisecond and apply that and then learn from it and then continue to apply that to various scenarios. I think what we end up with is just better healthcare outcomes. And then also the ability to detect things at an earlier stage, which means that there's a much higher likelihood of an early intervention, lower costs of that, and also higher likelihood of there being a positive outcome in terms of people being able to survive and thrive through potential health crises.
Yep, and I think AI played a huge role in during the COVID-19 times, and it was able to predict in advance where there was likelihood, where there were hotspots, and how we were able to control quite quickly. At least in Australia as well, we were able to control quite quickly, and thanks to AI-based technologies and techniques, and it's great. I think we're living the dream actually.
Absolutely. I was just reading earlier that I think it'll be something like $2 trillion that will be spent on AI and healthcare, particularly coming off the back of when people are realizing that, this is such a booming area for AI to really, really serve the greater good. And there are still going to be ethical concerns with it, particularly around who has access to that data and how could it potentially be used in a way, and how do patients kind of control that access, and and then also the jobs. But at this point, I think we know that in terms of the number of people that we need to have qualified as doctors, as radiologists, as various specialists and so on, it's not keeping up with the rate of increased demand for those healthcare services. And so if there's a way to use AI to scale a healthcare system's ability to meet its population's needs, then that is another really positive way of applying AI in that space. I think, for the everyday citizen, though, to be thinking about how they're going to interact with AI in the future, we do need to be thinking around things like privacy, but then also from a careers perspective, looking at, what kinds of things should the next generation be studying. So they're able to be the ones to steward AI. I think I heard a quote somewhere that talked about how it's best if you're the one managing AI rather than being managed by it. And so, the next generation, I think, of employees, of leaders in society need to be able to positively interact and use AI, leverage it to increase their potential to make a positive difference, and also to move forward economically, being the subset of people whose jobs are really likely to be replaced through the advances in technology.
Absolutely. Thank you, Grace. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff, and I'll speak to you soon.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, guys, so that was Grace Mathew from Sydney. If you have a point of view, which I sure do, you do, so just send me a direct message and I will get you here, and you can share what is artificial intelligence in your point of view with the audience, so that more and more people can learn and understand that artificial intelligence is not making robots walking on the street, and that's not at all about. It's far more than that. So thank you for watching this episode. If you're watching this on Twitter, please press the follow button. If you're watching this on, of course, retweet and like, as well as follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, please press the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you get alerted when a live show is on. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, please like and share with your network, and also follow me on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on Facebook, please like this episode, and also share this episode with the groups that are artificial intelligence based groups, so more and more people can learn from what Grace had to say about what is artificial intelligence. And I think that would be a great idea. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon with another guest of mine. But if you want to be on the show, all you need to do is send me a direct message. Bye now.